As promised yesterday, I've got another guide on another new blade today. This time we're going to be focusing on Corvin. So Corvin is another really strong light blade, which it seems we've gotten quite a few of. He's got a lot of tools that allow him to be a solid blade in a number of different situations, from having some of the best DPS in the game to being an almost unkillable evasion tank. Corvin is really the total package blade that can do almost everything that you would want him to. So let's quickly get into and discuss his Affinity Chart. So his first special here, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this or any of his other abilities to be honest, heals 10% damage on hit. This is a decent effect for some party healing if you need it, and can easily be spammed since it's a level 1. It also has a small circle AoE radius which can be useful in mob fights. One thing I'll mention about all three of his specials right now is that they all have crazy high ratios, much higher than any other character in the game. This means they will all deal a lot of damage despite having non-damaging effects. These ratios are almost double what other characters have, so his specials will hurt a lot and are the primary source of his fantastic DPS. The second special he has hits a few times and purges an enraged status of enemy. This can be used to make a lot of fights easier by removing additional elements or annoying enrage effects like spike or extra damage. It too has an AoE radius in front of Corvin. Definitely a solid ability. The third special here is kind of slow, but it hits many times. Additionally, it is very powerful with a ratio almost as strong as Mithr's level 4, and after the conclusion of it, it gives you Ghostwalker, which allows you to dodge the next 6 attacks. As far as his battle skills, this one is definitely his best one. 150% damage and max affinity is very strong, and the extra 25% evasion rate is also useful when combined with his other attributes. The second skill he has is also pretty good. For every crit, you'll refill the party meter by a value of 16. For reference, the Omega Drive will fill the meter by a value of 7 for every crit, so this ability makes him almost as good as getting party meter as Fiora Screw Edge spam. I don't really show this off in the video, but if you like using setups that involve party meter, then this is a really nice ability to have. This final ability is good, but its usefulness varies a lot. You recharge your arts every time you evade an attack. This is okay against single target enemies to give you a few extra arts chain, but typically you want to be using your specials anyway. However, in mob fights you can take great advantage of this by basically spamming evasion to become invincible. I'll make sure to show this off with a setup on Zeke later. So for Aux Cores, I run the damage boosting Aux Cores to ensure he's always putting out the DPS and keeping aggro on him. Affinity max attack, outdoor attack up, and humanoid hunter for the specific mission I'll be showing him off in. For weapon, you should probably want to run Moon Matter Courtship, because I think that's the best option. His block rate is low because of this, but our goal is to evade, not to block, so we don't really care about block rate. So for general use, I like using him on Morag. Nia has pretty similar art speed but slightly less damage, and Zeke has one really good use that I'll show later, but typically Morag is going to be your best bet. I like to run a bit of a hybrid setup here, where I mostly focus on damage, but I do run one agility mod common with a pentagon chip, and run Dauntless Boots accessories to bring my agility up to 653 as you can see. With this setup I can basically turn myself invincible. So for other accessories I always run Crimson Headband because it's just really essential for almost every setup, and just because I hate running actual healers I like to use my last accessory slot as the Avant-Garde medal. Other options including added sources like Abyss Mask or damage ratio for arts like Noise Dampener are also fine. For desserts I typically stick with the art recharge. However, if you're fighting against large mobs, you probably want to use something else, because you're going to be constantly evading attacks to recharge your arts anyway, so you're not going to need desserts nearly as much. That should about cover everything that I wanted to say, so let's show off what this character can do. So let's get right into this. The first thing you'll notice is that I have Mithra and Shulk as support characters with me for Monado Speed and Foresight to give me an extra 90% evasion, and this is going to ensure that I basically never really get hit at all. I will get hit a few times in the fight with Corvin himself, but for the most part I'll be taking almost 0 damage here, and you're going to see the word miss a lot. So typically the strategy you want to employ when using Corvin is to use a lot of specials. Your level 1 and level 2 are AoE specials, and they can be very useful for fights like these. And typically you also want to use your level 3 kind of early in a fight to give yourself 6 guaranteed chances to evade an attack. These chances to evade do not get consumed when an attack naturally misses or when you use your evasion art like New Moon in this case. So when you're running a high evasion setup like we have right now, the extra 6 evasion stacks can pretty much make you almost unhittable for the majority of the fight. So as you can see right here, I do end up getting hit some. But once I set myself up and the auras are up more, I don't really ever get hit at all. As you see right, you can see all those misses from 100 shells not even touching me. Overall, all three of your specials serve a purpose to where you can use them as you need. If your party needs healing, you can use your level 1. If you need to end an enemy in rage or you just want to do a lot of AoE faster, you can use your level 2. And if you need to evade attacks like desperately, you can use your level 3. The only special Kamuya has that really isn't that useful, or Corvin, sorry for pronouncing his Japanese name, is his level 4, ironically. It doesn't even do as much damage as your level 3, so you don't really have a reason to use it unless you're just using it for the iframe, and you don't really need iframe when you have evasion arts and the fact that level 3 basically gives you guaranteed iframes anyway. This is probably the rare instance where I would say a level 4 special is actually kind of useless. So another thing you'll notice in this fight is right here, you'll see my arts are recharging extremely quickly because I'm constantly evading attacks, so I can pretty much have 100% uptime on my arts and my evasion art too, which I show off right here, where I just simply keep avoiding attacks no matter what. So as you can see from my evasion art being up almost all the time, getting 6 guaranteed evasion stacks from a level 3, and just the fact that I have an insanely high amount of a base evasion already with agility and the evasion buffs, it's really hard to die or get hit with this character. Combined with the fact that he has a really high amount of DPS, I actually do show off his level 4 here. So here's the animation, as you can see. It's kind of slow as all level 4s typically are, and it doesn't do as much damage as level 3 or any of his other specials really. But as I was saying, he has really solid DPS for the type of tank blade he is also, making him just a very well-rounded character that can easily fit into any team and easily help you beat a lot of these challenges. Back to the actual fight, typically the strategy is just going to be to spam your specials as much as possible. I actually shy away from using level 3s too much because I think using level 2 is a little bit better overall, just quite a bit faster, and it still hurts extremely hard. And combined with the fact that it's AoE for a fight like this, it's just extremely useful to keep using. Overall, I think Kamuya's biggest weakness is that he's only the 4th best light blade. And that's not a knock against Kamuya, that's just a testament to how powerful all the light blades we've gotten are so far. But being the 4th best light blade still is really, really good, and considering I'm using 2 of the others right now, it's not really a big deal to double up on them, honestly. The one thing you don't get to see in this fight is Kamuya's ability to build chain attack meter, because we don't have access to it, but for every single one of these critical hit rates he gets, like this level 2 special right here would have easily fully charged the meter. And as you can see on the level 2, every hit of it does like 100,000 to all the elmas, and it hits quite a few times. This is pretty valuable because it can make sure that all aggro stays on you in like a multi-enemy fight like this. And the synergy of all these forms of evasion that he has just makes him really hard to deal with for like every enemy in the game. You can pretty easily cheese probably everything in the game just by using him. He may not be the fastest method or the most optimal method for everything, but if you need a solid blade that can reliably beat everything in the game, I think Kamuya might be one of the best options for you. And my apologies if I keep calling him Kamuya. I am so used to the Japanese name from data mines by now that I just can't help myself. So I don't want to show the full fight here, so I'll probably end off this section soon and show off the one final interesting use he has in mob fights like these, which just involves spamming a powerful evasion art and hitting everything over and over and never dying. And that's when we bring in Zeke. So just to show off how stupid this is, I'm going to be playing this on Bringer of Chaos, and I'm not going to have any allies with me. Let's see how I fare in this challenge with just this setup. So our art of choice here is going to be Galactic Strike. It's our evasion art, and to be honest, it's the only good art Zeke has on Katana. You should probably never use any other art he has, or really focus on anything else but using this art. But this one art does make him very nice to use. So we just use it, that's it. We just spam Galactic Strike, you just press the exact same button and then you go AFK. That's it. I'm evading everything, can't even be hit. I'm doing 200,000 per art use because I have it set up to do as much damage on this art as possible. And there's nothing any of the elmas can even do to me. Since they're constantly hitting me, I'm constantly getting my Galactic Strike cooldown back, which means I can constantly use it to evade everything. Not only does this show just how stupid this art, or any evasion art he has, can be in a mob fight, it just also shows a pretty easy way to beat this challenge if you're still having trouble with it for some reason. All in all, for general purposes, I would still recommend using Kamuya on Morag, but if you need like a really dumb evasion art that can't be blocked, then I would recommend using Zeke for this purpose. There's not really any level of thinking or skill required. You don't even have to have the proper equipment for it. You just have to be able to use one button. Just make sure you have this one section of his skill tree maxed and you can just handle any of these mob fights. So as you're going to see with abilities like this and the fact that he has so much damage already and the fact that he's just a really good tank on top of that, Kamuya is a very well-rounded blade. I'm certainly not going to show this entire fight, so I'll probably just end it off right here, because there's really not much else to show, because I'm just going to be using this one art over and over. I hope you've all learned something, and I hope you all enjoyed watching this video. Please look forward to the Blade Rankings project, which will be done very soon, and Golden Country content in the near future. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed the video and would like to see all of that. And with all that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and have a fantastic day.